While minivans are a dime a dozen in the US, that distinction goes to the MPVs here in the Philippines due to its affordable price point. However, some families still prefer the supreme comfort that a minivan can give, and that's where this diesel-powered minivan comes in. This is the 2020 Kia Grand Carnival EX 7-seater, and in this video, we will see if it deserves a place in your garage. Let's do this! Hello guys, I'm Reagan and welcome back to another car review and drive impression. If you're new to my channel, I hope you hit that subscribe button and become part of the Reagan's Rides family. If you're a subscriber already, thank you so much for your support by watching this video. I also hope that you give it a like. Also, special thanks to Kia Mandaluyong for giving us this awesome opportunity to feature this Kia Grand Carnival EX 7-seater. I have with me Kia Mandaluyong's Julius Carlos.
Hello guys, I'm Julius Carlos, Sales Consultant of Kia Mandaluyong. Come visit us at Unit 5, 833 Sheridan Street, Greenfield District, Mandaluyong City. If you have questions or inquiries, you can contact me at my details below. Thank you and hope to see you soon.
Alright, Sir Julius, thank you so much. Anyway guys, let's begin with the review. The Grand Carnival is better known as the Kia Sedona, where it has used that nameplate in the US. It's a spacious and comfortable minivan that has provided stellar service to families for 2 decades now. Here in the Philippines, the Grand Carnival is a premium family vehicle option for people who want a spacious and comfortable ride that is diesel-powered. This top-spec Grand Carnival 7-seater EX I have here retails for 2,395,000 Philippine pesos. But since the 4th generation Sedona or Carnival was launched in June 2020, you can get some pretty good deals on these 3rd generation units. Now, to know more about those deals, you better inquire with Julius to find out. Now, while this may be the outgoing model, it is by no means outdated. The Grand Carnival still shares in Kia's signature tiger nose front grille right here, and I must say guys that this is the largest and the fattest tiger nose I've seen in their lineup. We still don't get the Kia Telluride here locally, so the Grand Carnival still has that distinction of being the largest Kia in the Philippines. For your headlights, you get halogen headlights here, but they do come in this nice projector type housing, and you also have LED DRLs that come as standard. Also, as standard equipment in the Grand Carnival EX, you get halogen fog lights here at the bottom. Now, when you look at the overall front fascia of the Grand Carnival, it has that premium upscale vibe to it that can compete with the other luxury minivans in the market. When you go to the side of the Kia Grand Carnival, you'll see its sheer mass and its sheer size. While it's not as tall as some of the other minivans in the local market, the Grand Carnival has this low-slung, beefy, hulking stance to it. It has these blacked out window pillars here, which you really couldn't see much in this black review unit, but all Grand Carnivals in the country have blacked out window pillars to give it that nice floating roof design to it. You also get power folding side mirrors with LED repeaters here, and for the top spec EX variant, you get dual power sliding doors for your EX. The thing is, I noticed about these power sliding doors, and most power sliding doors in the local market, especially for vans, well, they kind of open and close on the slow side. So, if you need to get out of your vehicle in a rush, you might as well occupy the front part of your Grand Carnival. Now, for wheels and tires, you get 18 inches in this top spec EX variant, and these wheels are wrapped in 235/60 R18 tires. Hiding behind those wheels, you get 4-wheel disc brakes, which is enough to stop this hulking behemoth. For your suspension, you get a MacPherson system up front and a very pliant multi-link rear suspension at the rear. The ground clearance stands at 180 millimeters, which is perfectly decent for a minivan. Now, when you get to the rear end of the Grand Carnival, it doesn't have that squarish van vibe to it, but rather it looks more like a large SUV that's been slammed to the ground by Stance Nation. Well, kidding aside, guys, this top-spec EX gets LED taillights here, and you also have a rear bumper with an integrated reflector over there. The rear bumper also has this nice plastic protective thing here, just in case you're loading heavy stuff into your Grand Carnival. Underneath that rear bumper, you get a design that looks like a rear skid plate, just in case you decide to take this baby out for an off-roading trip. Now, when you pop open the power liftgate of the Grand Carnival, you'll see that you'll be treated to a whopping 960 liters of trunk capacity, and that's with the third row being used. That's right, guys, 960 liters of trunk space. Now, how in the world did the Grand Carnival do that? Well, this behemoth right here is a front-wheel drive van, so that explains the large interior space and also the cavernous trunk space. This has a deep trunk floor that could easily swallow a medium-sized luggage. Well, if you need proof, guys, luckily I brought with me a medium-sized luggage. I have this baby right here, and as you can see, I can put it up standing there, and it could easily fit. See? Now, if you put it on its side, yes, that deep trunk floor nearly swallows my medium-sized luggage. Now, if 960 liters of trunk capacity is still not enough for you, you have the option of leaving the kids behind in the house and tumbling down the third row seats. Now, to do that, you just pull on this latch here, pull on this pull tab, and push down onto the floor, and that will give you a really flat trunk space in your Grand Carnival. Now, if you put down all the third row seats, well, you'll be given 2,220 liters of trunk space. Now, that's good enough, guys, to carry like, what, 7 or 8 pieces of luggage. That's pretty crazy. See, you've got a really flat trunk space here, and that should give you like, wow, enough space for the entire family's luggage whenever you're going on an out-of-town trip. Now, if 2,220 liters of trunk capacity is not enough for you guys, you could also tumble forward the 2 captain's seats there, and that should give you 4,022 liters of trunk capacity, which is perfect for those IKEA furniture runs, or in case you want to transport a Kia Rio inside your Grand Carnival. Just saying, guys. Now, while the Kia Sedonas in the US are powered by a V6 petrol engine, the Grand Carnivals that we get here in the country are powered by a frugal yet still powerful diesel engine that's been sourced in Korea. This motor right here can do 197 horses and 441 Newton meters of torque. It's mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission which sends power down to the front wheels. Now, quoted fuel economy figures for this behemoth stands at around 12 kilometers per liter in combined city and highway driving, which is pretty good considering that this behemoth weighs in at over 2,000 kilos, and that's without even any passengers. Now, the Kia Grand Carnival may be a minivan, but driving it on a daily basis is still quite tolerable because of its low ride height and, well, its car-like driving position. The seats that you get here in the top spec Grand Carnival EX are leather, and this is two-tone leather, which is dark leather and beige leather, and it also has some red contrast stitching. Now, I'm not really a big fan of this color combination, guys. They should have just stuck with the all dark leather or all beige leather, and it would have looked so much better, at least in my opinion. Now, the top spec EX also gets this leather wrap steering wheel here, and the steering wheel also has your plethora of buttons for your hands-free calling and your infotainment system, cruise controls, and whatnot. From your steering wheel, you've got your analog instrument gauge system here and a tiny 3.5-inch TFT LCD display in the middle that shows your vital stats. Now, I know that there's a lot of new offerings now that has a lot of these fancy tech on their instrument gauges, but I must admit, guys, that this analog layout for your instrument gauge system will appeal more to the titos and titas of Manila, which I dare say is the primary demographic of car buyers when it comes to vans of this size. Now, while you do have this analog instrument gauge cluster here, the infotainment system of the Grand Carnival is no slouch. You get an 8-inch touchscreen system here that has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and Bluetooth connectivity. The thing is, the interface could use a little bit more color and a little bit more improvement though. But despite that, guys, you still get your separate buttons and knobs here for your volume controls, your power, and other more important buttons in your infotainment system. So this should make, well, tinkering around with your infotainment system quite easy and quite safe whenever you're driving your Kia Grand Carnival. Moving down from those buttons, you also get your fully automatic climate control system here that has really nice knobs and buttons as well for the operation of your climate control system. This is thoughtfully laid out, well put together, guys, and quite intuitive just to to operate it. From there, you've got a couple of charging ports here. You got a USB port and a 12-volt outlet, and you also have a couple of cup holders here that I have full confidence will pass my clean canteen tests. You see, this is a minivan, and minivans are meant to transport, well, families, and families need large cup holders. So I have my flask right here. As you can see, I put it there, and it passes with flying colors, and there's still room to spare, guys. Now, your Grand Carnival doesn't get an electronic parking brake or auto hold button here. Rather, you still get a traditional foot brake that's found here at the left side of your foot. Not really a big issue for me, guys. Now, when you look at the cockpit area, the dashboard area, you've got such a huge dashboard in your Grand Carnival that Kia decided not only to give us one glove box, but they gave us two glove boxes. So you got your usual glove box here at the bottom part and a tiny one that's found here up top for other smaller knickknacks. Now, the material of the dashboard is mostly soft plastic, and you also have soft plastic here in your door panels, but you do have some leather inserts here in your door panels and on your padded leather on your armrest, either here in the center or here on the door. You also have some carbon fiber design cues here on your door panel, which is a little bit on the confusing side because, well, that's supposed to be sporty and this is a minivan. So yeah, it confuses me a little bit. However, having said that though, guys, you do get this fancy little sunroof here up top on the front side, which is one of two sunroofs that you can get here in your Grand Carnival. This is a manual cover, but despite the manual cover, it is still fully automatic when it comes to opening and closing. So you get one of two sunroofs, which is pretty great considering the price point that this Grand Carnival comes in. The top spec Kia Grand Carnival EX 7-seater in the country gets, well, captain seats for its second row. You could still seat 3 people in the third row, so that still makes this a 7-seater despite just having 2 seats right here in the second row. Now, the captain seats that you get are pretty typical captain seats here. You've got your individual armrests here, and yeah, well, you don't really get a leg rest, guys, in the Grand Carnival. However, despite not getting a leg rest, well, you do get a ton of knee room and leg room here. I'm 5'6", guys, and as you can see, this is my driving position here, and I've got over a foot before my knee touches the back of the driver's seat. Now, for headroom though, the headroom isn't really that good. I got like 5-6 inches before my head touches the headliner. The thing is, that's not really an issue because while you're being driven around in your Grand Carnival, you could always recline your captain seats and be driven around in supreme comfort. Now, while you're reclining here, you'll also notice that you've got a second sunroof here in the second row. While this sunroof is pretty large, it would have been better if it were just one entire large panoramic sunroof here that connected to the first sunroof that can be found in the driver and front passenger area. Now, that would totally elevate, well, the overall riding experience inside your Grand Carnival. Now, having said that though, guys, the good thing about this second sunroof is the second row passengers gets their own controls on how to open and close this sunroof here. Now, the driver has controls there up front, and you also have controls here at the back, so that gives you a little bit more freedom on the operation of your sunroof. You also get some rear AC vents here that are mounted on the ceiling. The good thing there is the second row and the third row gets these rear AC vents, and these climate control vents here at the back can be independently controlled by another control system that can be found here at the ceiling of the second row. You also get some privacy shades here that should keep the riffraff out whenever you're being driven around in your Grand Carnival. And for other toys and goodies here, guys, you get a couple of cup holders that are mounted here at the rear part of the driver's center console. And you also have a sole USB charging port and a tiny little cubby here that you can park your smartphone in while it's charging up. Overall, guys, when you look at the second row captain seats of the Grand Carnival, it may not be as luxurious or as plush as the ones found in, let's say, a Toyota Alphard, which cost like over ₱1 million more. But these seats are terrific. They are really comfortable and plush, and I wouldn't mind being driven around in the second row seats of the Grand Carnival. Now, let's head over to the third row and see what kind of space and toys we can expect in the third row of the Kia Grand Carnival. Now, together, guys, since it's captain seats, it's quite easy to get into the third row. Just go through the middle. Now, typically, passengers in the third row would get the shortest stick of the bunch, but that's not really the case when it comes to the Kia Grand Carnival. In fact, the space that you can find here in the third row is pretty much similar to the same space that you can find in the backseat of some subcompact crossover offerings out there in the market. You can comfortably sit 3 people across here with no problems at all. Now, I'm 5'6", guys, as I mentioned, and even with this captain's chair on the second row pushed all the way back for maximum legroom up front, I still got around 4 inches of space before my knee would touch the seat back of this captain's seats. So this is really perfect for long journeys, guys, even if you're an average size adult. And the best part there is, well, you can pull on a tab here at the side and you can recline your third row, which will give you supreme comfort even while you're stuck here at the third row seat of the Kia Grand Carnival. Now, while you're going on that long journey and that long drive, you're comfortably lounging here with all your space. The good thing there is you also have rear AC vents that are mounted here in the ceiling, and you also have a couple of cup holders on both sides, giving you 4 cup holders here at the third row, and you also have your rear privacy shades to keep the sun out whenever you're here on the third row. So yes, while this is the third row seat of the Grand Carnival, it is still perfect whenever you're going out on a long journey, even if you're a regular size adult. Now guys, let's hop back to the driver's seat and take this behemoth out for a drive, just so I can show you what it's like to pilot the Kia Grand Carnival. Let's go. Alright guys, so we're now behind the wheel of the Kia Grand Carnival EX 7-seater. And you know what guys, I've piloted the Kia Sedona in the US many years back, and I really have an idea how these behemoths perform on the road. Now, while despite being a little bit on the low slung side, lower ride height, and being more of a car-like feel on the driver's seat, you still know that you're piloting a massive vehicle. This behemoth is huge, it's wide, it's long, and it feels like you're driving a yacht, to be perfectly honest. But guys, the seats are supremely comfortable. Now, I've driven this on a 4-hour road trip from LA to San Diego, in a Kia Sedona, and at the end of the trip, guys, well, I didn't feel tired at all. The seats are really, really comfortable, guys. It is that fantastic. Now, when it comes to visibility, you'd expect that for a minivan, you'll have an awesome amount of visibility and you would not be disappointed. You've got a large window here on both sides and you've got a large windshield up front, so you've got a great commanding view of the road, guys. Having said that, the good thing here is despite being a large vehicle, you don't really get too much blind spots here, because even if the Grand Carnival has a nose, well, it's not really that big. It's more of a Filipino nose, a little bit on the tiny button-like side. So you don't really have any blind spots, especially on the right side of the Grand Carnival. It's not gonna be an issue. When it comes to the handling and the suspension, well, as I mentioned, this baby feels like you're piloting a yacht or a boat. So there's a lot of body rolls and body wobbles here and there, mainly because of the sheer mass and the size of this vehicle. Now, that may not be good when it comes to the performance aspect of a car, but then this is a minivan that is tuned for super comfort. And in that regard, guys, this baby delivers, and delivers in spades. Now, this baby is powered by a turbo diesel motor, so let's see what kind of acceleration we can get in this short acceleration burst. Let's go. Woo! Alright, so there's a little bit of a delay when it comes to pulling the power down, which is so expected when it comes to a vehicle like this. I mean, this baby is massive. It's over 2,000 kilos, so you could expect that in terms of response in the acceleration department, it's not going to be like seating your pants type of acceleration. Now, having said that though, the 2.2-liter turbo diesel mill that can be found in this Grand Carnival could really deliver a good and linear amount of power on the road. Let's try it again. Yep. Once this baby bites, it bites hard and it accelerates really quite fast. I have to say, guys, it accelerates pretty fast for a minivan. This baby won't leave you hanging when you're going up a mountain road, let's say you're going on a trip to Baguio, or let's say you're going around road trips, let's say in Bukidnon or Ilocos or Halsema Highway or something like that, this baby will not keep you or leave you hanging. Even if you've got, let's say, 8 passengers or let's say 7 passengers inside your Grand Carnival, that's not gonna be an issue, guys. It's got a great amount of low-end torque, and you could feel all of that 441 Newton meters working for you. Now, I know that this is still a perfectly decent daily driver car, but you know, buyers of the Grand Carnival would normally have other vehicles, smaller vehicles in their stable. And normally, the owners of these cars would savor the second row, the back seat, those captain's chairs, whenever this baby is on the road. So luckily, guys, I've enlisted the help of Kia Mandaluyong's Michael, who will help me pilot this behemoth while I give you a drive impression or a ride impression of what it feels like to be at the captain seats of the Grand Carnival. So now it's time to switch to Michael in the wheel. Now, true to its minivan nature, the captain seats of the Kia Grand Carnival is supremely comfortable, guys. I mean, wow. This baby is absorbing really all the bumps. Even while I'm seated here at the second row, I could feel it. There are some bumps here and there on the road, but none of them gets transmitted inside your Kia Grand Carnival. The padding of these seats are terrific, guys. I mean, Kia makes some of the best seats in the business, and the seats of the Grand Carnival are no exception at all. I mean, there are really just a few cars out there that could make you feel like you're really the boss whenever you're at the backseat of that car, and this Kia Grand Carnival is one of those cars, guys. I mean, this is crazy comfortable. This is crazy good, guys. Now, I mentioned to you that this baby has a really peppy, really strong diesel engine, and I wouldn't mind driving this behemoth on a daily basis. But man, this Kia Grand Carnival's captain seats, it's the best seats in the house, baby. Bar none. The Kia Grand Carnival is one of the most compelling people mover options in the local market because it combines a spacious and luxurious 7-seater option with proven diesel performance at a relatively affordable price point. While it doesn't have the fancy tech that some of the newer offerings have out there, it does have a distinct advantage that these newer offerings don't have: the luxury of space. And in my book, guys, space always trumps fancy mood lights anytime. Once again, guys, thank you for watching one of my car reviews. If you like this review, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. I promise you guys I'll make it worth your while if you become part of the Reagan Strides family. I'm Reagan, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.